Hello, my gaming compadres. I am Siegfried Trent, game designer, co-creator of Everyday Heroes, and the wild-eyed hermit of Sig Trent Games. This week, we're going to tell you what's going on with Sig Trent Games in week 34. I will give you a little bit of game design advice, and we will talk about what I've been doing in life and gaming in general. All right. So week 34 of Sig Trent Games, Shotgun Fantasy is all ready to go into layout. We've got all the art. I got all the text. All we need to do is glue it together and we'll be in good shape. A lot of people are asking what I'm planning to do for printing the game. So for the first edition or effort, it's going to be PDF and print on demand. So we'll try to make those two available. The PDF will be available as soon as we can make it available. The print on demand, we might have to do a little testing. I don't know how long that'll take, but however long it takes to proof it, get through that process will be how long it takes to get the print version ready. So to buy a book and have it shipped to you, not print on demand, is going to take a little bit longer. So I'm going to do probably a Kickstarter or another crowdfunded kind of a thing. We're going to make a slightly different version of Shotgun Fantasy, one that includes some basic rules so that people can just pick it up and play it. And they don't need to necessarily buy the Everyday Heroes system. It'll be based on Everyday Heroes. It's still using that rule system, but it'll be kind of a little smaller subset nugget that'll be included in there, and maybe some additional material for so that you can make modern characters and some stuff like that. We'll see. I haven't decided exactly what that configuration is going to be, but if I'm going to do a formal print book and have it in boxes and all that stuff from a printer, I want to be able to sell it to stores. And I think to sell it to stores, it needs to be a complete book so that you can buy the book and you can play Shotgun Fantasy as is, as written. So that's a little bit of a challenge still, but we'll figure that out. And that is the current plan. Now, if I go to the printers and I find something that can do a relatively small volume at a good price, then maybe we'll just print the current version as well and get that done a little quicker. But I don't know. We'll see. But the PDF will be coming very, very soon. Maybe not by the end of the year, but we'll see. It's going to be either in late December or early January, I think, but we shall see. Anyway, I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to see that project get finished. I've been working on it all year, so I'm pretty excited about that. All right, Everyday Pirates, that's all done. I'm done with Everyday Pirates. I don't need to do anything more. I handed it off to Goober, final draft. I did some editing. We did some playtesting. The playtesting went really well. Did that over Thanksgiving with my Thanksgiving friends. And yeah, just all kind of worked pretty much like I thought it would. I had some interesting things to think about. There was definitely a lot that needed to get cleaned up as far as doing my final edits to get the final draft. I ended up adding another ship. So it was going to be 10 ships. But there was a little gap kind of between the smaller light pirate ships and the bigger, heavier warships, and I needed kind of a medium ship to slot in there. So I added another ship in and just tightened up some things that, as you go through a manuscript and I work on different things, some stuff gets out of alignment, some of the language gets a little off. So I got all that cleaned up, and it was looking really good. So hopefully that comes around in January, I think is when they plan to release it. So look forward to that on Sidekick, I think is where you'll see it. All right, Mystery Project. I need to turn up the heat to 11 on that, get cranking along on it, and I'm excited to do so. I have gotten started doing some research, doing some equipment sections for that one, and I need to make sure that it doesn't have equipment that's already been done in previous books, so I got to go through the back catalog on that game and figure out exactly what's already been done so I can figure out what new to do. Layout contract, that is underway, and so that's good. Nice little source of income for us. That is on schedule and going quite well, and is in the midst of working it and putting it together. Night Magics is going to come back into my sights here. I was kind of waiting to get Shotgun Fantasy done. Now I'm a little pressured on the Mystery Project, but I will make time for it. At least do a little bit in chunks and chunks, since I'm kind of excited to work on it, actually. The spells, now that I finished Shotgun Fantasy, finished all those spells, I'm ready to do some more spells. And these spells are really fun because they're modern-themed spells. So they're like street magic, club magic, stuff that street punks would be doing. And so they're kind of colorful and interesting, doing things with your cigarette smoke or stuff like that. So kind of fun, and I'm excited to be working on it. All right. Game design tip of the week this week, and it is to avoid waiting. So what's this about? It's going to be a pretty short tip, and it is something that came up here and comes up a lot in my writing and writing for other people when I'm supervising people. This happens as well. And what it's about is, so you've got a contract work or something you're doing, and you can get roadblocked, which means you can't make progress, or at least you think you can't make progress. And you need something from somebody else to move forward. So a true roadblock, something like, well, I can't get access to any of the files, the internet's down, and my house is on fire. Well, obviously, you're not going to get a lot of work done under these circumstances. But sometimes it's just like, oh, I have a question about, are elves in this world? Do they have good eyesight, or do they need to sleep or not? Because I was going to have these dreams, but if elves don't dream. So something like that kind of stuff happens a lot, especially when you're working on somebody else's world, project, or game, right? You want to have some questions answered so you can do the best work you can. Or maybe you need some resources of some kind. So like when we're doing our layout project, we kind of need to know information about the printer and how that works, and what kind of color coding they like to use, and what their page margins are and stuff like that. So you may have some stuff that you need. And the goal here, what this discussion is about, is trying not to be in a situation where that stalls you out and makes you late on delivering the project, because you always really want to avoid that. These kinds of things always happen. It's almost inevitable that you're going to have to wait for somebody, or you need to get input, or you have questions or something, and it might take a while for various reasons, right? So this is about not getting stalled, not turning those from roadblocks to more just sort of maybe speed bumps at best, right? All right, so the first thing is you should always reach out and try to get what you need, right? So if you do run into something and you think it would be helpful to get some information, or it is essential to get some information, you should absolutely, as soon as you can, reach out and try to get that information. Don't let any of these tips sort of stop you from trying to get what you need, right? So you should do that. You should also follow up periodically. Everybody's pretty busy, especially in the RPG business. Usually you got a lot of frying pans with a lot of little things cooking on it. And it's pretty easy to lose track of something that somebody else needs. So do remind people. I usually do it about once a week. If it gets more urgent, then I might do it every day. Not all the time, because then it just gets annoying, right? But everybody's busy, but do try to be persistent, especially if it's essential information you need to get. You need to make sure you get it. Now, of course, always ask nicely. But despite all that, you should try to work around the roadblocks as best you can. So that is what we're going to be talking about, because sometimes the thing that you want just doesn't show up, or doesn't show up on time. So first, make the best decisions that you can with the information that you have. So maybe let's say about the dreaming elf thing, like you're not really sure, but you say, well, I'd like elves to dream, and hopefully that'll work out. So go ahead and do some of that work. Don't wait forever for that, right? You can wait a little bit, but eventually you need to get back to and just make a decision using your wisdom and the best skills and information that you can collect yourself, and try to go forward with it. Next is to work in areas where you don't have roadblocks, right? So don't let a roadblock here stop you from working on this, right? So do everything else that you can do without the information that you must do as best you can, right? So work around the roadblocks, don't let them stop you, and then when you get that information, you can go back to that other work item and finish it off. Try to make it easy for others to help you. Now, this is one of my golden tips for life in general. If you want other people to help you, try to make it easy for them to do so. Think about what can you do that will sort of grease the wheels and make it very simple for them to give you what you need. And you're much more likely to get what you want if you do this. So first of all, be specific about what it is you need. Don't say, oh, do you have any ideas about blah, 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 blah? No, don't do that. Say, hey, do you want hobbits in this adventure or not, right? Something very direct like that. Avoid open-ended questions. Okay, that's kind of what we were just talking about. It's sort of part of the same. Frame your questions for simple answers, right? So say, ask a yes or no question. It's really easy to answer those. Or ask a question that requires one word to answer. Something like, what demi-human species would you like focused on in this adventure, right? Whatever it happens to be. And then you get nice, direct answers. Ask early. When you get a project or something, try to figure out your questions as soon as you can. Now, sometimes people will give me 2 sentences about what the project is, and they're like, do you have questions? And I'm like, I have all the questions in the world. you probably have more information to give me. Let me get that, and then I will ask more detailed questions, which is how it works. But try to ask those questions early. Maybe don't overwhelm them with every question you have. Put out questions in like a set, that's not going to be overwhelming for the person trying to read it, and focus on the ones that are most important and the ones that you need earliest, right? Then ask people who would likely know the answer. Don't ask somebody who isn't going to be able to help you with something. So if you're talking to an art director, don't ask them about game design. If you're talking to a game designer, don't necessarily ask them about art direction, right? They won't necessarily know the answer to that question. So try to find out. But you can ask somebody, hey, who could help me with this question if you cannot? And then you can get that direct help and ask them instead. Okay, so that's making it easy for people to answer your questions and to give you the help that you need. Sometimes I make a little form for them to fill out, right? I'm like, here are the points of information I need, and they're all lined up, and I have a little explanation for what this information is in case they don't actually understand it, but then they might be able to ask somebody else to get that information, etc. Be confident. Okay, so this is about some people will ask a lot of questions because they're not confident in coming up with their own answers, and they want somebody else to give an answer about an opinion or a design idea or something like that. Generally speaking, if somebody is going to pay you, they want you to be proficient at whatever it is and to have a certain amount, a level of command and creativity that you are going to come with your vision and what you want to do. So be pretty confident in that, and don't try to second guess yourself or make sure that everything you do is exactly going to please people. Make sure you do want to please people, of course. You have something in mind, but try to move forward with that, and don't just try to second guess everything and ask for approval on everything, because people generally aren't going to have time to do that. Consider if you truly need a response. So don't ask questions that you don't actually need answers to. Again, sometimes people will just ask questions because it makes them feel more comfortable, and I'll catch myself doing this a lot. I'll come up with a question, and then I'll go, it probably actually doesn't matter what the answer is, because I think I want to do it like this, and then I'm confident enough, okay, it's good. If I want to do it like that, I think that's good. I'm just going to go for it, right? The bottom line, though, is it's better to deliver something that maybe isn't perfect than to blame someone else when you're late, right? That's what you really don't want to do, is to be able to say, oh, well, I didn't get it done because so-and-so never got back to me in an email, right? That's pretty lame. It throws gears in the works. If something truly roadblocks you, you need to be highlighting it and be persistent about getting that answer, right? And say clearly, I cannot finish the project without this piece of information. Please give it to me or we will be late. At that point, you can totally be late, and it really isn't your fault because you've set up the need and the expectations ahead of time, given everybody all the time they need, made it as easy possible to get your question answered, and they're not going to be too upset with you. But generally speaking, if you can still deliver despite those questions lingering, take your best guess, be confident, go forward, then that's going to give you a better reputation, be better received, and just help books get made, right? Okay, so that's that. A little bit of game design advice. It's not really about game design, but there's a lot more to game design than game design, as the case may be. All right, playing games, what I've been doing. I've been playing No Man's Sky, and I'm still pretty obsessed with that game. I was working on my freighter and fighting a lot of pirates. I got a big pirate freighter, which is really cool. And I've been exploring planets, just kind of finding interesting planets and dorking around. I feel like I'm sort of approaching the end game in No Man's Sky, which tends to be building things and doing creative stuff. I don't know how deeply I will get into that. I'm still really enjoying the expeditions, and there's a new one out, so I'm excited to get back to that. Did play Traveler. We wrapped up our first Traveler adventure. Gabriazar and his intrepid crew managed to uncover a complex conspiracy. I think we beat around that conspiracy bush quite badly for most of the game, avoiding all of the game master's attempts to try and direct us in a given direction. And finally, we just sort of did the things that he expected us to do, and we got some computer files that explained everything, and we could turn over to the authorities, and ta-da, we got out of our situation, which means Gabriazar gets to clear the mortgage on his ship. And because I'm weird, I took some time to calculate all the finances of the things that we bought and sold, and all the stuff having to do with the ship's finances and its mortgage and its shares, made a spreadsheet, did my finances, paid out shares to the crew, paid out shares to the ship itself, put it into its own little company. I don't know why I do these things, but Traveler, the book kind of encourages you to do these things that I really wanted to engage with the game and the way it was designed. And part of it is sort of managing your ship, right, as a little entity in and of itself. So I had a good time with that. I think we'll play some more, but I believe the Game Master is going to take a break and we're going to do a little holiday-themed adventure of some kind. Maybe we'll do the Holiday Heroes stuff from my Holidays Heroes expansion, which Evil Genius Games is promoting due to the season. It is very good, I think, by the way. If you like silly holiday stuff, pick it up. You can play a flying, talking reindeer, a Kringlekin, which is like a mysterious fae person that Santa Claus is a part of that tradition. You can play a workshop elf. You can be a snowman. There's all kinds of crazy things you can do, and there's a miracle worker class, which I'm very proud of. It's a really fun class to play, I think. It's a magical class. So if you want a little magic early for Everyday Heroes, you can get, it's no spell casting, but it does do magic. So that's pretty fun. And the adventure is pretty fun too. Lumps of Coal is a good adventure. All right, Nomad Ann on her Twitch channel has been playing No Man's Sky. Nomad Ann, No Man's Sky, kind of works out. And that's pretty much all she's doing. The main thing was unlocking purple stars, so she did that post-endgame quest in order to get access to those. They're really cool. They have lots of interesting planets. You get the gas giants and stuff like that. And she's been setting up mining operations on her planet, so that's all pretty good. And I think probably if you tune in this week, you'll see her playing the Expedition. Life in general, well, it was, normally the section's really short, but it was a little more exciting this week. Had a very nice Thanksgiving with friends. We went to Seattle, hung out with my good buddies. We always stay at one of my friends' house, and we hang around and chat and watch TV and go out to eat. And then we do the Thanksgiving festivities. We'll probably do the same thing on Christmas. I felt very thankful, not just for my friends, but kind of with, I don't know, I had a moment where I was like, everybody I've interacted with this year or at all time, all of you people that are on the Discord, people that leave comments on the YouTube channel, people that chat me up wherever I happen to be or send me messages about anything and everything. I'm just kind of grateful for friends and acquaintances and the wonder that is other human beings. So I had some car trouble this week. So when we were coming back from Thanksgiving, my car battery died. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get back in time for work. That's not good for the finances. I was afraid maybe the car is totaled. That would be very bad. But we did figure out it's probably the battery. Managed to charge the battery enough to get home. But then we had more battery trouble. The battery is 10 years old. So that battery is long past its due. And I think it just kind of was starting to give up the ghost. I was able to get back and forth to work a couple times, but then it died on Anne. Well, she was running errands, which is no fun. But I got that fixed. I got a new battery. These days when you're starting a new business, any kind of finances like that, it's not fun. But I am very thankful that it's not like a big problem with the car, just a battery. That's something that I can handle. So we got that taken care of, but it definitely interfered with the week's smooth flow. And I'm happy that's all done and taken care of. The car seems to be working well now. I did get to watch a bunch of horror films for Thanksgiving. Whenever I'm over at my friend Luis's house, he has Netflix and HBO and stuff. So I usually take advantage of that to watch some late night films. And I usually go to bed early, but sometimes she'll stay up and watch these things with me. So we watched a few different things. I saw the movie Weapons, which is really good. Definitely recommend that. It's kind of a cool horror movie that's got a neat mystery, and it's got a cool structure for storytelling. It's got good characters. The mystery was maybe a little less mysterious than I thought, but it was fun. It was fun. Had a good ending. So I give that movie a big thumbs up. We watched The Substance, which starts out very interesting. It's a weird movie about a very vain Hollywood star who's getting older, and she sees an ad for something called The Substance that could make you young again. And it turns into a wild body horror situation, which is really interesting up through the first hour or so. And then after that, it kind of goes off the rails. And it's still sort of interesting to watch, especially if you like horror movies. But I didn't like it. I don't know, something about it. Like, really intrigued for a while. And then I felt it kind of jumped the shark, went off the rails, and just wasn't as much fun. It was more just kind of trying to gross you out. It does have kind of an interesting message about sort of self-loathing and vanity and some other things. So kind of an interesting movie, but not one I'd recommend. Not super entertaining. Then I watched 3 episodes of Welcome to Derby, which is, Derby, I think, which is another retelling of Stephen King's It that's on HBO right now. And I like that pretty well. It was a little slow to start. it's one of those shows where like the filmography is really good, like the filmmaking is really good, and the story just didn't really hook me. It's kind of interesting, but the characters didn't really draw me in. It got better and better. I watched 3 episodes. By the third episode, I was definitely more involved than I was in the previous episodes. But there's just sort of a really jarring line between the day-to-day stuff the characters are doing and then the moments of horror, which are like up to 10, right? So it's like a 2 in craziness, and then it jumps to a 10, and then it goes right back to a 2 for another hour, and then maybe you get another 10, and it's a little too jarring, the jump. I like a little bit more of a slow build. And a build up to something crazy, and then you go, whoa, 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 right? That's kind of how I like it paced. So I think the pacing wasn't really great on it, even if the filmmaking's pretty good. Also, the dialogue, the kids sound kind of unnatural to me. I mean, that's always going to happen in one of these shows, but if you compare it to the next thing I watched, Stranger Things, you can see night and day. Stranger Things has pretty natural dialogue for the kids, even if they're in crazy, weird situations, as we're Welcome to Derby really doesn't. I liked it better when it was focused on adults. So Stranger Things, I watched 1 episode of the latest season. I don't know which season that is. There's been quite a few. And I really liked it. I thought it was good. I like Stranger Things quite a bit. I only had time to watch 1 episode, and I liked it. So if I get the opportunity, I'll watch more of those. I don't really subscribe to a lot of these services. I used to back in the day, but once I started doing game design and pinching my pennies, I don't have the time for it necessarily or the money for it. Every once in a while, I'll subscribe for a month if I got some nice free time, and I'll binge a bunch of shows because I do really like watching shows, and it's good inspiration if you're a game designer to watch media that you like and especially genres you want to work on. And I do like horror, so that's about it. Otherwise, things are going pretty well. Been very busy. Work at the shop is work at the shop. It's the holiday season, so the customers are extra friendly, which is cool. Wishing people a Merry Christmas and all that good stuff. We're playing the Christmas music. This is the first week of it. I have not gotten tired of it yet, so I don't mind it. I think eventually, as Christmas rolls around, I will be a bit fed up with Christmas music, but we will see how it goes. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and a fantastic holidays, and Merry Christmas to all of you as well. Bye-bye.